We are now about halfway through the 2022 NBA season, and since I usually like to save all my prediction rankings for the offseason, I feel like now is a pretty good time to give you my top 10 players at each position for this season. And let me be clear, we are only halfway through the year, so for any of you who may be watching this a few months from now, a few weeks from now, maybe even 1 week from now, and some dude has started going off and he started playing way better than he has been, I may be wrong at that point. By the end of the season, these rankings may be all over the place, but as of the halfway point, alright, as of January 10th, this is where I am ranking the top 10 point guards in the NBA for the 2022 season. Now, with that out of the way, let me start off with the honorable mentions. Just barely missing out on the top 10, I have Kyle Lowry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox, and Malcolm Brogdon. All of these dudes had a legitimate case to be top 10 on my list, and all of these dudes just fell a little bit short. These are very good point guards. It's very possible that by the end of the season, some of them will overtake guys who I currently have ranked ahead of them, but for right now, this is where I have them. Lowry, SGA, Fox, and Brogdon are all honorable mentions on my list, and with that, I can get into the real top 10. Starting off with DeJounte Murray, a guy who just a few days ago I really didn't expect to be on this list, but after the Sixers played the Spurs, I saw how good he was in that game. I was like, alright, let me look into this dude some more, and wow. The dude has been really freaking good this season. You all know that he is a good defensive player. That's kind of what he's known for. He's a good defensive point guard, but not much of a scorer. He doesn't really do anything else. Well, this season, DeJounte Murray has become a massively better offensive player. 18, 8, and 9, with 2 steals, are his stats this year. And I know steals are not the end-all be-all of defense, I've talked about it, but you know he's a good defensive player, especially one-on-one. The man plays very good defense on opposing guards. He's a really good defender, and now his offense is finally starting to come along. 9 assists a game with only 2.5 turnovers is incredible. Those are some Chris Paul type assist stats right there, and his efficiency is not great. 44, 34, 70 shooting splits are not great. They're just not. And I really feel bad for this guy that he's on this not great Spurs team. He's carried them to a couple of their wins, and he's just not meant to be like the primary offensive player on a team, or one of the top 2, depending on how you view the dudes around him. He's not meant to be this leading scorer. He should be like the number 4 scorer on your team, kind of similar to the role that Chris Paul, who we'll get to later, is currently playing on the Phoenix Suns. I feel like that's DeJounte Murray's role. He's not meant to score a ton of points, although he can get a bucket when needed, but his primary thing is playing defense and being a fantastic facilitator. Absolutely fantastic. Like, seriously, an underrated passer in the league right now. DeJounte Murray is a great young player. He has improved every single season so far, and I really hope he gets traded somewhere else. Oh, maybe the Sixers. I would love him on the Sixers. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I would love him for Ben Simmons. You know, give me Lonnie Walker in there too. Like, I'm probably asking for too much now, but I would love to see him on a different team. I really would. Or I'd love the Spurs to just maybe get it together. Like, their young core, I don't know. They're a weird team. I don't know if they're in a rebuild or if they're trying to like make the playoffs with their team now, but I want to see something change for DeJounte Murray because I don't think the role he's in now is the right one for him. But nevertheless, he's been a very good player this season, very fun to watch, and I think he's underrated. Speaking of underrated, actually, I think this guy might be a little bit overrated at the moment, but Fred VanVleet is my number 9 spot, and I'm not going to sit here and hate on Fred VanVleet. He has been phenomenal in recent games. Alright, he's averaging like 30 points a game over the last few weeks. He's just playing out of his mind, and for the season as a whole, he's averaging 22 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds, along with 2 steals, and he is shooting career highs across the board. 44% from the field, 41% from 3 on 9 attempts a game. The only time he shot better from 3 was when he was only shooting 3 threes a game. He's shooting triple that now, and 89% from the free throw line. This man is a fantastic offensive player. Notice I said offensive player. The reason Fred VanVleet is only at number 9, and I originally didn't even have him on this list, but he's been playing so well lately that I had to put him on here. He is only at number 9, Raptors fans, because his defense, despite averaging, almost 2 steals a game, is still bad. Like, he's definitely improved. Don't get me wrong. Everybody keeps telling me, Fred VanVleet, he's not as bad of a defender as he used to be. He's gotten better. Yes, he has. So has Trae Young. Trae Young is still a bad defender. And unlike Trae Young, Fred VanVleet is not quite averaging like 30 points almost and almost 10 assists. He is averaging 22 and 7, which are good numbers, but not Trae Young level numbers. So let's just chill out on him a little bit. He is a very good player. He has a legitimate all-star case, especially with how well he has been playing lately, and if he continues playing that way through the voting period. But people are out here saying that Fred VanVleet has been like a borderline top 5 point guard in the league this year, and he just hasn't. He just hasn't. I don't think that's disrespectful to Fred VanVleet. He just hasn't been that amazing so far, but he has been very, very good. You know, once again, I'm not trying to be negative here. Fred VanVleet's been a very good player. I haven't been numbered on my list for a reason. Not quite a top 5 point guard in the NBA just yet, though. His defense is probably never going to be something great, but if he can keep being this good offensively, he really could make an all-star team. Probably not this season. Probably not, just because it took him a little too long and his stats aren't up there yet. But another season when the Raptors are winning more? Yeah, he could be an all-star. The dude's been playing fantastic. Slightly worse, however, than my number 8 spot, LaMelo Ball. 19, 7, and 8 are LaMelo Ball's current counting stats this year, and he's just a highlight reel. The dude is 20 years old, and he's one of the most entertaining players to watch in the league. I mean, listen to the Hornets announcer. That dude freaking... let me not say something inappropriate here, but like, he loses his mind every single time LaMelo Ball could be out there picking his nose, and that Hornets announcer would be like, oh my god, LaMelo Ball! Oh my god, he's the greatest thing! Seriously, like, I'm barely exaggerating right now. That dude is crazy for LaMelo Ball. He needs to, like, get a chill pill right now. Somebody get this man a girlfriend. He needs to focus on something else. But the stats are great. The efficiency is also pretty good. 42% from the field is not amazing, but 38% from 3 on 7 attempts is a big jump in both efficiency and volume from his rookie season. Very impressive. And 87% from the free throw line is phenomenal, especially for such a young player. The one thing that LaMelo Ball really needs to do to improve, if he wants to be in that top 5 point guard conversation, he needs to get to the free throw line more. The man shoots 3 free throws a game. And that is just not good enough. He needs to get into the paint, he needs to drive, he needs to attack more. Yes, he is a great shooter, a very good shooter at the very least, I should say. He is a fantastic passer, and he actually doesn't have that many turnovers, as you would think from someone who's so flashy. Like, he could tone it down a little bit, but considering the very difficult and risky passes he makes, I'm shocked that he's only averaging 3 turnovers a game. Like, I really would have thought he was averaging at least 4. Dude is a fantastic passer and playmaker. He's a very good shooter and scorer. He just needs to make it into the paint more. He is big enough and skilled enough that he should be going to the rim and drawing a few more fouls a game. That is the next step in his evolution. But at only 12 years old, at only 20 years old, LaMelo Ball is young. He has a ton of room to improve. His team is very good. Well, pretty good, considering how young they are anyway, and how they have no good defenders on the team. And he just has a lot of potential. He's really fun to watch. So, Mr. Hornets announcer guy, you know, keep it going. Keep yelling like crazy and getting this dude on House of Highlights, because he really is fun to watch. Now we get into number 7. And this is the part of the list that I really started to struggle with. Like, I'm going to try to speed this list up because we're like 8 minutes in already and I'm only at number 7, but it's not easy because Chris Paul is not an easy player to rank in his 36-year-old season. I said that weird, but you know what I mean. He's 36 years old. 14 points and 10 assists with 2 steals. Those are Chris Paul's stats this year. And those are great stats. But are they the stats of a top 5 point guard in the NBA? I mean, some people think so. Some people think they are. I'm not so sure. He's a very good defender, especially considering his size and his age. He is still the best passer in the NBA, arguably since Magic Johnson. The dude is phenomenal. Not quite the best playmaker. I would give that title to Nikola Jokic, but he's in that conversation as well. The man is just phenomenal. He's a very efficient player, scoring from the field from the mid-range, although his three-point percentage certainly needs some work. But I just don't know if I can justify having 14 points a game over the guys I have ahead of him. And the reason why is because he's not carrying the load for his team, with the exception of one dude who is going to be right after Chris Paul at number 6. Everyone else ranked ahead of him is the number one guy on their team by a wide margin. It is not close. They are carrying their team's offense. They are carrying their team in every way on the offensive end. And Chris Paul just isn't doing that. I don't think he's a better player than Devin Booker at this point. I could be wrong. You can tell me I'm wrong. I'm not going to, fight you on it. I'm not, set in that opinion by any means. But he really might not be. He might not be better than Devin Booker. And that's why he doesn't have to score so much. And he's a good defender, but he's not a better one than Mikal Bridges, who is taking the toughest defensive assignments every night. So, it's not like he's carrying his team, He's just not. He's kind of doing his Chris Paul thing, chilling, and in the playoffs, maybe we'll see him do a little bit more. Who knows? But at this point in the regular season, I'm only comfortable putting him at number 7 because I just think the other guys, even if they've been, from a statistical standpoint, not playing as well and their teams are not winning as much, they don't have teams that are as good as Chris Paul's, and I feel like they've had to do more for their teams, so despite kind of sort of playing worse, I'm giving them an excuse. Does that make sense? I was all over the place there, but that is why I have Chris Paul at number 7, and we're going to move on to James Harden, who, in the exact opposite direction, is playing like crap. Wow. Oh, I started coughing there when I did that fake laugh. Sorry. 22 points a game by James Harden standards suck. This is a dude who was leading the league in scoring a few years ago. 22 points a game sounds awful when you attach it to the name James Harden, even though with anyone else, it's really not that bad. And since he's averaging about 10 assists as well, those should be pretty good stats, right? KD's the main scorer on the team, James Harden's taken a step-back role, and he's just playmaking. Well, yes, but his scoring's still bad. 22 points a game on 16 field goal attempts a game is some Russell Westbrook type bad efficiency, right? This dude is shooting 41% from the field and 33% from 3. Those numbers suck. They suck. They suck. They are bad numbers. James Harden should be better than this. I know he's had a lot of free throw issues this year with the new foul call rules. I'm not going to lie, I found it hilarious. I never liked the way that he drew fouls, and that's coming from an Embiid fan. I'm a fan of Joel Embiid, and I know that James Harden is a significantly more annoying player when it comes to foul drawing. This dude was a freaking annoyance and a half to watch. And now he's struggling with it, and he's just not playing that well. But that is not the full story. The man is missing open shots he would have made before. In the last few weeks, he's been getting better. So maybe by the end of the season, he will be back in that top 5 discussion area. You know what I mean? But for right now, I'm only able to put him at number 6 because he had not been playing close to his standards, and he has arguably been playing slightly better than my number 5 pick, who is Damian Lillard, but unlike him, James Harden has not even been the best dude on his team. The pressure is not on him as much as it is on Kevin Durant, and he's still playing this bad. Meanwhile, Dame, at number 5, is also having a very down season, and his stats are even worse than Harden's. He's averaging more points with 24, less assists with 7, and 40, 32, 88 shooting splits. Now, the 88% from the free throw line is actually great, but 40% from the field on a dude taking 19 shots a game, that sucks. 32% from 3 on a dude taking 10 threes a game. That sucks. This dude is not shooting well whatsoever, and similar to James, in recent weeks he has been starting to pick it back up again. He's starting to score more on much better efficiency, but for the season as a whole, there's no way I could put Damian Lillard higher than number 5. There's just no way. His defense is awful, as always. He's been struggling with an abdominal strain, which I'm willing to use as an excuse. He seems to have gotten better lately, he's shooting much better, but as of right now, at the halfway point of the season, I can't put this man above number 5. We know how good Damian Lillard is. This man was a deserving first-team All-NBA point guard just 2 seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago. I'm not good at math, but this year he just hasn't been that guy. He hasn't been that guy, and Portland is struggling because of it, among several other reasons. They've never surrounded him with enough help, but he's usually able to carry them into the playoffs, and this year it's just not working out because he hasn't been that dude. Hopefully, he gets it together, he gives them a carry job, gets them close to the play-in at the very least. I want to see him succeed. If he continues refusing to leave this team, although I would rather see him traded for Ben Simmons, I'm just saying, pairing with Joel Embiid, damn, I'm just saying, it would be pretty nice, but Damian Lillard at number 5 for now. Moving on to the top 4. This ranking is so difficult. I had this man at number 3 originally, and I had to move him down to only number 4. It's Luka Doncic. 25, 8, and 9 for Luka Doncic this season. And once again, we are looking at a dude whose efficiency has not been remotely good. 44% from the field is actually not that bad, but 32% from 3 on 8 attempts is terrible, and 71% from the free throw line is the worst of his career, and also the least free throws of his career. So I don't know what's going on with this man. I just don't. Now, Jason Kidd is not a good NBA coach. We all know this. Everyone except for apparently the Mavs GM knows this. I don't know why they hired Jason Kidd. He is not a very good coach. Yes, the team's defense has been solid this season, but their offense has sucked. They're taking the ball over Luka's hands. He's not getting better shots. I don't know why they hired this man. Everyone knows that he is not a good NBA coach. He should not be coaching the Dallas Mavericks. But here we are, and despite the fact that he is having a very bad coach, I can't put all the blame on Jason Kidd. Luka Doncic missing shots is partially on him at the end of the day. It just is. And the Mavs haven't been terrible. Their defense has been good. Luka is probably playing the best defense of his career. He's been basically an average defensive player this year, which is nice to see because if he's going to be the best player in the league, he needs to be probably a slight positive on defense unless he's really going to be Steph Curry levels on offense, which he's not that far from, if we're being honest, if his efficiency ever goes up. But the efficiency's just been bad. It's just been bad. He's not finishing that well around the rim. He's not getting as many free throws as he used to because of the new foul rules, and he keeps whining at the refs about them, which is something he needs to get under control because the refs in the NBA seem to really not like this man. And his three-pointers are still not going in. Last year, it seemed like he finally turned a corner with the threes. 35% from the field on 8 attempts is pretty good, and this year it dropped back down to 32% on the same number of attempts. So I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to get that efficiency up. Still a top 4 point guard in the league, however, but I just couldn't put him above a guy who's really played phenomenal basketball this season, and that is Ja Morant. Ja Morant is my number 3 pick for this list with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. 49, 39, 78 shooting splits. Ja Morant is an efficient scoring machine while also being a very good playmaker. Whew, had to get a drink of water there. Ja Morant's been great this year. His defense has not been great, but everything else he does has been great. His three-point percentage has gone up massively despite taking more attempts, especially off the dribble. He's a very impressive three-point shooter this year. His finishing around the rim, phenomenal. Basically 50% from the field from a dude who attacks the paint constantly and is like 6'1". Absolutely insane. Sorry, he's 6'3". He's actually not that short, but he's a small, skinny player for someone who attacks the rim this much and is this efficient. His free throw shooting has gone up. He's gotten better in every single aspect of his game, except maybe playmaking, which has actually gone down, but he's scoring so much more. I don't blame that on him. I don't think he's become a worse passer by any means. I think he's just taking more shots because he can make more shots. The dude is a fantastic young player. He's only in his 3rd year. He's only 22. And is he really better at this point than Luka, Dame, and Harden? It's hard to say. They've been having down years. It's possible by the end of the season, Ja's going to move back out of the top 5 as those guys get their groove back. But for right now, halfway through the year, yeah, I think Ja Morant has been the 3rd best point guard in the NBA so far this season. He's playing great, and I could not justify having him behind guys like Luka, Dame, and James Harden. I just think he's played better than him so far. So Ja is at number 3. And finally, thankfully, we get to the top 2. The 2 players, the 2 point guards, who I can rank on here and actually be like completely certain that they are in this place where I want them. Because Trae Young at number 2 and Steph Curry at number 1 is pretty much inarguable at this point. Like, if you don't agree with the ranking of these 2 players, you're just wrong. Like, you just don't really know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. But it's the truth. It's the truth. Unless you think LeBron James is a point guard, which he is not this season, you're just wrong if you think anybody else is above these 2 guys. And Trae Young is at number 2. Honestly, like, if his team was winning more, there would be a real case for him to be number 1. If his team was winning, if they were like a top seed in the East, there would be a legitimate discussion about him being the MVP this year because he is putting up 28 points, 10 assists, and 4 rebounds, along with a steal, on 46, 38, 90 shooting splits. Those are amazing numbers. Like, incredible numbers, and nobody's really talking about him because the Hawks are busy playing bad, and it's not Trae Young's fault. Like, their biggest issue is defense, and yes, he's still a bad defender, although he has improved, but last season they managed to be a decent defense because everyone else covered for him, and this year they're just not doing their job. Clint Capella specifically has been terrible on defense this season. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know, but he has not been a good defender. The rest of the team is not picking up the slack enough, and while his defense is a legitimate issue, when Trae Young is doing this much on offense, I think it's justified that you surround him with good defensive players, and those supposed players are just not doing their job this year. So the rest of the Hawks need to step it up so people understand how amazing Trae Young is on offense, because he's one of the best players in the league as both a playmaker and a scorer. And, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say, partially because I'm running out of breath because I've been talking for so long. This video is so much longer than I intended it to be. I really got to figure that crap out before the shooting guard one. But the man's efficiency is off the charts. 38% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. That is the shooting numbers we expected from Trae Young when he was drafted, and he is finally hitting those threes at the level we expected to see. 46% from the field, also a career high, and a very good field goal percentage, especially for a small guard. His free throws have gone down from the past 2 seasons, probably because of the new free throw rules, but he's still getting to the line 7 times a game, and he's shooting a career high 90% on free throws. This man is an efficient beast. He's a phenomenal playmaker. He is one of the best scorers in the NBA, and he's still a bad defender. But is there really any argument that he is not the second best point guard in the league right now? Trae Young has been a top 10 player in the league this season. He has 100%. And the only reason he's not number 1 is because number 1 is Steph Curry, and even with his slump, Steph Curry is Steph Curry is Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? 27 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. The stats actually don't jump out at you that much, but he has a lot of help this season. We saw what he could do last year with 32 points a game when the help wasn't there. This year it's only 27, and the field goal percentage is really holding him back from the MVP race right now. He's gone into a horrible slump lately. 42% for the season, 39% from 3 on 13 3-point attempts, which is amazing for literally anyone else, but by Steph Curry standards, 39% from 3 on 13 attempts is somehow like him underperforming. So, you know, that it just is how it is. 92% from the free throw line. His free throws are down as well from the last few years. He's in a slump. He is in a big-time slump. It is justified that he has fallen off of the MVP race. He's no longer in the number 1 spot. I don't think he's even top 3 at this point. But we all know that he's going to get it together. Klay Thompson is about to come back. He's going to lighten up those double teams because as much help as Curry has this year, Wiggins and Poole and guys like that have been really, really good. He doesn't have a second scoring option, like all-star scoring option, on his team. And when he gets one, I will not be surprised if Steph Curry goes back to his normal efficient self. I can't wait to see it. Klay Thompson is actually about to return tonight as I am recording this, and I want to watch that game, so I'm going to wrap up this absurdly long video now. And just to reiterate, Curry, Young, Morant, I forgot the order. Who do I have it for? Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard, James Harden, Chris Paul, LaMelo Ball, Fred VanVleet, and DeJounte Murray. That is my top 10 point guards for this NBA season. Holy crap, I need so much footage to record for this long-ass video. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for waiting here to the end. I swear, okay? I'm going to make the shooting guard one shorter. I'm not sure how yet because I like to talk, and I have a lot to say, but I'm going to make it shorter. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.